What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Me, Lee, aka FableStar. Today we're checking out the 7 meta loadouts that you should be using in Call of Duty Warzone Season 3. So let's get into it. So the first gun that we're going to be taking a look at today, guys, is the Automaton. This has been around for a little while now. We know it's accurate and it's good at distance, and that's what we want it for. So the build that we're going to be using is the Mercury Silencer for the muzzle. That's going to give you the sound suppression, the bullet velocity, and of course that horizontal recoil control. Then we move on to the barrel, which is the ZAC 600mm BFA. Makes it accurate and again reduces sway and bob apparently. Now it does hurt your hip fire and sprint to fire speed, but you're not really going to be using those for a long range weapon. For the optic, I've gone for the G16 2.5 times. Now that's my favorite scope for any Vanguard rifle. Personal preference. If you've got a better one, bang it on there. For the stock, we've gone Anastasia padded. Now that again helps with the sustained firing and a bit of flinch resistance, which never hurts. Initial fire and recoil and aim stability, but they don't really affect anything. This gun is an absolute laser. Then we move on to the perks, which is tight grip. Now that again helps with sustained firing. For perk 2, we've got fully loaded. There aren't any better ones. Put it on. There's just nothing better. For the rear grip, we've gone for the polymer grip, flinch resistance, and again, we're doubling down on that sustained firing. For the magazine, we've gone for the 6.5mm Sakura 75 round drum. That's going to give you plenty of ammunition to take down multiple opponents, so you shouldn't struggle there. And then for the ammunition, lengthened, again, just going to help with that bullet velocity, make sure that your good bullets are going where you're aiming. And for the underbarrel, we've got the M1941 hand stop. Recoil control, accuracy, again, hip fire and idle sway control, it's not going to matter. This gun is a laser. Give it a go. And I've paired that with the Vanguard PPSH. Now this gun I've only started using recently and it shreds. I think this might be possibly the best gun in the game at the moment. That's from my experience in using it, and this is the build that I recommend. So we've got the muzzle is the recoil booster. Again, we all know that one increases the fire rate. Next we have the barrel, which I've gone for the Kovaleskaia 230mm. Now some people go for the ZAC 300, but personally I find that the Kovaleskaia just shreds that little bit faster. Again, it's got the fire rate on there compared to bullet velocity and range. So I suppose you're choosing between fast killing up close or the ability to go slightly further. But this build you still can get those medium engagements, so I'd go with this. The optic, slate reflector, pretty much what I use again on all Vanguard SMGs. The stock is the remove stock. We're going for a bit more mobility, even though it does hurt your aim down sight speed. Just make sure that you're pre-firing as you aim and you'll be fine. Tight grip for the perk, again, helps just to make sure that you can land your shots while you're firing at a bit further distance. Then we've got quick, which I love on SMGs. I like to move around and slide about, so you know that's what I use that for. The rear grip is the pine tar grip, recoil control, hip fire accuracy. This isn't a hip fire build, but there are a few hip fire perks on here, so you could use it for a bit of hip firing, I guess. For the magazine, I've gone for the 8mm Nambu 71 round. Now, again, some people might go for the Gorenko, depends on preference. Now, that hurts your aim down sight speed, your movement speed. The only pro is the capacity, whereas with this, you've got the fire rate, which I'm really building on because I want this to shred as fast as possible. It hurts your velocity, doesn't really matter too much. Movement speed, we've already built that in elsewhere. Bullet penetration and damage. Overall, we've got plenty of damage on this thing. Ammunition is hollow point, just to help out with that limb damage. Lengthened if you like, but again, I'm going for a very fast up close build. If you want a little bit more distance, like a sniper support, maybe put that on there. And then for the underbarrel, we've got the Carver 4 grip, recoil control and hip fire accuracy. Again, hurts the aim down sight a little bit, but I really don't notice the aim down sight speeds being a problem with this. Worth giving a go. So the next loadout we're going to be checking out, guys, is the Cold War AK-47 and the MAC-10. One of my favorite ever loadouts. I love these weapons. The MAC-10's super mobile. The AK-47 just hits hard and at distance. We've got the suppressor on this one. Sound suppression, aim down sight speed, bullet velocity, sprint to fire speed. Only affects your damage range, but it's nothing too noticeable. Some people might run the gooooo suppressor. It's your preference, but I've gone with the regular suppressor. The barrel is the 20-inch Spetsnaz RPK barrel. Again, bullet velocity, horizontal recoil control, that's important. Effective damage range, vertical recoil control just helps you control it that little bit more easily. Aim walking, movement speed, hip fire, aim down sight, and sprinting. Don't really need those for a long range weapon. Then we've got the optic is the Axial Arms 3 standard. Next for the magazine, we go for the 45 round mag. Gives you the increased ammo capacity and only affects reload quickness, which shouldn't be much of a problem. Could go for the speed mag, but then it's affecting your aim down sight time, and we don't want to do that too much. And then finally, we have the underbarrel is the Spetsnaz grip. horizontal, vertical recoil control, super important. Moving on to the Mach 10 agency suppressor, sound suppression, vertical recoil, bullet velocity, and effective damage range. Yes, it affects your aim down sight speed and your walking speed. Not super important because it's still a super mobile weapon. Next, laser targeting spotlight. We've got movement speed and aim walking movement speed, and the only cons are flashlights visible. Not super important. Next, we got the stock. We've gone for the Raider stock. The ADS firing movement speed, aim walking movement speed, sprint to fire time, hip fire accuracy, not bothered not hip firing with this weapon. Next for the magazine, I'm running the Stanag 53 round drum. And then finally under barrel, we have the bruiser grip, which is your movement speed and hip fire accuracy. Okay, so the third loadout that we're going to be taking a look at is the sniper class. As we know, the sniper's got completely overhauled recently, and the one that I recommend to use at the moment is the Pellington. And I've decided to put that with the AS Val. For the Pellington, we're looking at the muzzle is the sound moderator, and that helps with suppression, aim down sight, bullet velocity, and sprint to fire. Aim and stability is the con, but nothing too bad. Then we move on to the barrel, which is the 27.2 combat recon, increases your bullet velocity, which is obviously super important with the sniper. The laser is the SWAT 5 MW laser sight, which helps improve your aim down sight time, which again super important for quick snipes and your aim and stability. Then we've got the underbarrel bruiser grip, movement speed, aim and stability, and then we've got the rear grip is the serpent wrap to help with that ADS speed. If you've not yet tried a new sniper, give this one a go, let me know what you think. And now move on to the AS Val, which I've gone with the barrel is the VLK 200mm OSA, damage range and bullet velocity. You've got the TAC laser, which helps with the aim down sight, aim stability, aim walking steadiness. The stock is the VLK Strelok, recoil control, aim stability, aim walking steadiness. Does affect your aim walk movement speed and aim down sight speed, but I've not noticed anything particularly detrimental. The perk that we've got is sleight of hand because we only have a 30 round magazine and there's not too much else that would be a better choice. And then magazine, we've got the 30 round mags. The STG, as we all know, got buffed recently. It's a great assault rifle. It's a little bit slower firing, which will punish you a little bit more if you miss your shots, but as long as you can land your shots, it's a great weapon to use. And on that, we've got the Mercury silencer as the muzzle, helps with sound suppression, horizontal recoil, which is the important one, and your bullet velocity, make sure your shots are going where you're aiming. For the barrel, we've got the VDD 760, which highly controllable, damage range, reduces your sway and bob. Again, bullet velocity, super important. The cons of the sprint fire, aim, walk, and hip fire, not important for a long range weapon. The optic is the G16 2.5, which again, my favorite one for Vanguard weapons. Stock, the VDD 27 precision, horizontal recoil control, aim down sight speed. Again, that horizontal is the important one. Vertical, super easy to control. Super easy to control, if I could speak. The perk is the sleight of hand to help with reload quickness. Perk 2 fully loaded. Again, nothing really else to challenge it. Fully loaded, just use the extra ammo, why not? Rear grip is the polymer grip to help with flinch resistance and accuracy during sustained fire, which again, very important for an assault rifle. The magazine, 7.62 Gorenko 50 round mag. There is a 60 round mag, but it does hurt your aim down sight speed. It hurts your reload quickness, movement speed, whereas this one is only the damage and bullet penetration, which we've already got plenty of, so we can afford to sacrifice a little bit there. It improves recoil and accuracy, movement speed, aim down sight speed, and your fire rate. The underbarrel is the M1941 hand stop. Recoil control, accuracy, hip fire accuracy is the con, doesn't matter for this weapon. Moving on to the Armaguerra, which is a really good gun to use. Even the ground floor, even the ground loot weapon is really good. And I recommend the Mercury silencer, again, sound suppression, horizontal recoil control, bullet velocity. The barrel is the Imerito 180mm short. Okay, so that improves your aim down sight speed, your aim movement speed, and your sprint to fire speed. Bullet velocity and recoil and accuracy, not super important because we've already built in some bullet velocity elsewhere. And the accuracy, it's going to be close range. Optic, slate reflector, Emerito SA folding stock as the stock, sprint to fire speed, movement speed, initial fire and recoil, nothing uncontrollable. Perk is sleight of hand, so to help out with that reload quickness. Perk 2 is quick. Again, I like to be very mobile when I'm running about with the SMG. Rear grip is fabric grip, helps with your aim down sight speed, sprint to fire speed, hip fire, recoil, recovery. Hurts your accuracy a little bit, but nothing too much. Magazine's a 9mm 42 round fast mag. Plenty of ammo, again, and swapping it out shouldn't be a problem. The ammunition, we've gone hollow point, just to help with that limb damage. If you are running about, you're not going to be always landing your shots perfectly, just helps out with that. Under barrel is their M1941 hand stop. Recoil control accuracy, hurts hip fire accuracy, but this isn't a hip fire build. And that's the build that I recommend for the Armored Guerra. Really do give it a go because it's a really good weapon. Moving on to loadout number 5, we have the XM4 and the MP40. The XM4 is just a weapon that will not go away, which I'm happy about because it's a great gun, been around for a little while. Nerfed and buffed recently, but overall a buff, and so I still highly recommend it. Super controllable recoil as well, decent damage, good TTK, great weapon. Getting into it, it's got the agency suppressor on this one, sound suppression, vertical recoil control, bullet velocity and effective damage range, affects your ADS, movement speed and aim stability, but again this is our long range build. We've got the barrel is 13.5 task force, bullet velocity, horizontal recoil control, damage range and vertical recoil control, and the other ones again, we're not hip firing, we're not going to be sprinting too much. It's a long range gun, so go for the task force. Axial arms 3 for the optic, best one to use. 45 round mag, it's only affects reload quickness. You could try standing 60 round, but again then you got your ADS speed, we don't want to damage that too much. You got the salvo, ADS speed, use the 45 round, it's the best. Underbarrel, field agent grip, horizontal and vertical recoil control, put it on there, you want it. Moving on to the MP40, we've got the, again this one's been nerfed and buffed I believe recently, so this is the latest build that I personally like to use and would recommend. We've got the recoil booster to help with the fire rate, Krausnik 221mm, aim down sight speed, hip fire accuracy, aim walking movement speed, sprint to fire. Does affect your bullet velocity, recoil control and damage range, but we're building this for up close, you know, when you're in the buildings running around, it's a good weapon. Okay, for the optic guys, we're running the Krausnik ISO 2M. Now I do get torn between this or the slate reflector because I prefer the slate reflector because I just prefer the way it looks, but this does help slightly with the aim down sight speed, which is nice, and this is a good alternative as well. So personally go with this one, but if you find you can't land your shots, go with the slate reflector. For the stock, we've gone with the remove stock. Hip fire accuracy, movement speed is the real reason that we're using that. Perk is steady, helps with your ADS fire, movement speed. We've got quick as perk 2, again movement. Rear grip is the stipple grip, helps with the recoil recovery and that initial firing recoil to help make sure you land your shots as quick as possible. Magazine is the 7.62 Gorenko 45 round mag, recoil control, movement speed, aim down sight speed and your fire rate. Now it does affect your bullet velocity, but we're not going for distance. Damage slightly, bullet penetration and damage range, but again this is a close-up build, so get that on there. For the ammunition guys, we're going to go for hollow point. Now that again helps out with the limb damage, so when you're in those fights where they're sliding about, you're sliding about, and you might not be landing all headshots and torso shots, just helps if you catch their limbs, you're going to do a bit more damage. And finally for the underbarrel, we've got the M1941 hand stop, recoil control accuracy, slight affects hip fire, but we're not that concerned. Moving on to loadout 6, we have the AMX, and I've put that with the OTS, which again is one of my favorite SMGs of all time. For the AMX, we're going monolithic suppressor, that helps with the sound suppression and your damage range. This however does affect your ADS speed and your aim walking steadiness, but I don't think that's too important for a long range weapon like this. For the barrel, we got the XRK Zodiac S440, damage range, bullet velocity, recoil control, again ADS speed slightly and movement speed, but this is going to be a distance weapon. You're going to be aiming down sight when you've got plenty of time to do so. Optic VLK 3.0 optic, just the best one to use. The magazine you want to use is the 45 round mag. The underbarrel is the Commando foregrip, and that helps with recoil stabilization and your aiming stability. We all know the AMX, if you can control it, brilliant weapon to use. If not, then maybe there are other weapons that are probably a bit easier to use, like the automaton. The SMG I'm pairing with the AMX again is the OTS. One of my favorites, we use the gooooo suppressor, sound suppression, vertical recoil control, bullet velocity, effective damage range, does affect the ADS but nothing too dramatic. Barrel 8.1 task force, effective damage range, bullet velocity, strafe speed, vertical and horizontal recoil control, but it's not uncontrollable, and again this is a close-up weapon. The KGB skeletal stock, ADS firing movement speed, aim walking movement speed, sprint to fire time, affects the hip fire accuracy, but this isn't a hip fire weapon, and you can still hip fire, it's just not built for that. The rear grip is the serpent wrap, ADS speed, affects your sprint to fire time, but if you slide cancelling and such, it's not going to be a problem. Magazine VDV 40 round fast mag, ammo capacity, reload quickness, affects your ADS, but again nothing too dramatic. And that's it for that guys. So we're moving on to the 7th and final loadout, which is the Farah. I don't really see many people using the Farah. It's a great gun, the stats are great, it's fun to use, one of my favorite weapons, but again I don't use it a ton, so I don't know what that is, but let's get into it. It's the gooooo suppressor. We all know what that does. 18.7-inch Spetsnaz RPK barrel. Again, we know what that does. Axial arms 3, standard for Cold War weapons. Magazine is a Spetsnaz 60-round mag. Gives you plenty to fight off multiple enemies with. Does affect your ADS speed and reload quickness. Nothing too dramatic, and again, long-range weapon. And finally, underbarrel is the Spetsnaz grip, which horizontal recoil control, vertical recoil control, really important, get it on there. And it's super easy to use, hits hard enough. It's a good all-round gun. ADS, damage, speed, give it a go. If you've not, give it a go, super good. And to go along with the fire, guys, I've gone with the well gun. Now recently this has got a bit of a buff, and the best SMGs at the minute do seem to be the Vanguard ones. They seem to be pushing that a little bit. So let's check out the build. We've gone for the recoil booster as the muzzle. We've gone with a 120mm Gawain short, which helps with the fire rate. The optic is a slate reflector. Gone for the remove stock for that movement speed. Helps with the ADS speed to sprint to fire speed, makes you nice and mobile. Recoil control accuracy. It's not going to matter too much with this close-up build. The perk I've gone for is acrobatic to make you as fast as possible. Perk 2 is quick, again helping you move around a bit, and the rear grip helps you with flinch resistance and keeps you on track with the enemy when you're sustained firing. Magazine is a 7.62 Gorenko 40 round mag. Recoil control, movement speed, fire rate does affect again the velocity and range, bullet penetration and slightly damage, but nothing too dramatic. Ammunition, we're going to go for hollow point. Again, if you're jumping around, you're hitting people in the arms rather than the torso, it's going to help make sure you die on them before they down you. And finally, the underbarrel is the M1941 hand stop. Recoil control accuracy slightly affects hip fire, but that's not a problem. And there you go, guys. That is the best 7 loadouts that you should be using in Season 3 of Call of Duty Warzone. Let me know what you think. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Have you tried them? Are they good? Are they bad? Would you change any of the attachments? Make sure to let us know down in the comments for me and for everyone else that might watch the video. If you found it useful, please make sure to comment. Please make sure to like the video. And if you want to find your way back, subscribe with notifications on. So thanks again for checking out the video, guys, and I'll see you next time. Bye.